Tonight is the finding late today by Philadelphia's medical examiner officially ruling Kada Scott's death a homicide. And it comes as police lay out a minute-by-minute account of her interactions with the man police say will now be charged with her. In a 5-page affidavit filed in court today, investigators detail a series of text messages between Scott and Keon King, and some 12 phone calls between the two the day she disappeared. In a time vivid accounts, witnesses, cell phone data, and surveillance video lay out chilling evidence of stolen cars, the involvement of accomplices, and the disposal of what police say does appear to be a human body.
He's now also facing nearly a dozen other new charges, and again, he was already in custody on charges connected to Kada's disappearance. And as you mentioned, we obtained court documents that reveal new details about the case, including text messages between 23-year-old Kada Scott and 21-year-old Keon King, who again is now charged with Kada's murder. Documents say Kada and King communicated between September 28th and October 4th, which is the day she disappeared. And on October 4th at 10:07 p.m., Kada allegedly text messaged King saying, quote, "Kidnap me again."
So they have confirmed that Keon had somebody help him because there's video, I guess, of them transporting Kada out of the car. They have it on video. So there is two of them. And not only that, y'all know Gabby. Remember Gabby? The girl that lived behind Kada? This girl got a criminal record and is out on bond right now for almost something similar to what Keon's out on for. We're going to get into that. Welcome back. This is Fugitive TV and I'm your host, Marcel. If you're just now new checking us out, please like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, help the channel grow. I'm trying to give you true crime events that are happening right now. If you are returning, thank you for returning. Now, we're still continuing with this Kada Scott case, all right? Kada Scott, of course, is the young, beautiful lady that went missing in October. It was October 4th. They just recently found her and identified it was her. And then today, they actually put out the cause of death. So the cause of death was from a shot. She was shot to death. So, which meaning somebody used their weapon to unalive her. And most likely it happened in that car. So let's backtrack about that car. The car was that stolen Hyundai. The stolen Hyundai, which is what Keon picked her up from, at her workplace. So inside that car, some sort of way, was how she was unalived due to the weapon. And that explains now why Keon set the car on fire in that alley. So if you don't remember, Keon set the car on fire in that alley, right? And after the car was set on fire, a tow company came and picked it up, brought it to the junkyard, and they smashed it. All evidence inside of that car pretty much destroyed. Cops couldn't really do anything. Car's burnt and it's smashed. That is one thing he was kind of smart on. I will give him that. Besides that, the man is an idiot. But that was the one thing he did do where it's like, well, there's not much they can do about that, right? But they do believe that she was unalived in that car.
Keon King's alleged criminal conspiracy began just before midnight on October 3rd, when court records say he stole a Hyundai Accent left unattended and running by a food delivery worker on the 6600 block of Sprague. Investigators say he'd used that stolen car to meet up with Kada Scott the following night. Charging documents say Scott and King made plans to meet up, with the final exchange between the two being, quote, "CM when you hear." 6 minutes later at 10:15 p.m., investigators say the two appeared to be together near Scott's place of employment, based on cell phone data. It'd be the last time Scott would be seen alive.
They are saying that there's two people on video. So he took that Hyundai, parked it at the rec center next to that abandoned school. They said there's two people that leave the car, then go back to the car, take out, which looks like a big object, almost the shape of a body, and then bring that object over off to the abandoned school. So two people. They're not saying if the second person is a female or the second person is a male. They're not saying that. I don't know why they're not giving us that. Maybe because they think that second person is in the clear and they're waiting to catch them up and catch them up in a lie.
The last text exchange between the two at 10:09 p.m. read, "CM when you're here." Documents also state that night, again, the last night Kada was seen alive, a coworker of Kada's at the terrace at Chestnut Hill, where Kada was last seen, reported to police that Kada was on the phone around 10 outside the building and appeared upset and was overheard saying, quote, "I can't believe you're calling me about this," followed by an expletive. Now, that eyewitness told police Kada got into a dark-colored SUV parked outside that immediately drove off. Documents also revealed new details about what was captured on Aubrey Recreation Recreation Center cameras, which is right next to the former Ada Lewis Middle School where Kada's body was found. We know from the district attorney's office that a black Hyundai Accent was parked in the lot for days and later set on fire in a different location, and they tied that vehicle to Keon King. They also said a gold Toyota Camry was in the lot at the same time the Hyundai Accent was. Documents now say 2 people can be seen on camera approaching that black Hyundai Accent on October 5th, the day after Kada disappeared, around 11:30 at night, and documents say they could be seen removing a heavy object consistent with the human body towards the general area where Kada's body was later found. That means investigators could be looking for at least 2 others that might have helped King move her body. Now again, police have not announced any additional arrests, but have said their investigation is active and ongoing.
All right. Now, there also has been anonymous tips. The cops would not even have found Kada if it wasn't for an anonymous person calling in and saying, hey, you guys need to check right here because this is where she is at exactly. Because from what I heard is the cops went and checked that abandoned school, but they never checked it thoroughly. They didn't go to the back where those woods are at. They just kind of glanced, looked in and walked out. That's it. They didn't check it thoroughly. So when they left, somebody called them and said, hey, go back. You missed it. So they went back and then they found it. Okay. Now, I still believe, and I'm pretty sure we all do, the person that's calling in these tips, they know exactly what happened because they were there. The person who called in these tips, they have to be there. They were there. Now, Kada's phone, before it went offline or off air, or before they broke it, was pinged to another home, and they went and searched that home. So I tried looking for the address. A news report came up. They didn't give us the exact address, but they showed the door. So the address, I believe, is 5508 Belmore Terrace. I was trying to figure out who lives there, but I can't figure out who lives there. I'm not getting no information on that. But 2 women were there when they went into the house and raided this house. There was ammunition in this house, contractor bags, and a couple of hammers.
At 10:24 p.m., Kada Scott's phone goes offline. 4 minutes later, the Hyundai Accent parks at the Arboretum, and the vehicle remains there. Using cell phone technology, investigators track King to this house on the 5500 block of Belmar Terrace. A search of the house turned up contractor bags, a hammer, and ammunition, among other items, according to the complaint. 2 women who live there were detained and interviewed but released. King was not at the house. The criminal complaint says King's cell phone was tracked taking multiple trips between the Belmar Terrace home and the area where Scott's body was found.
All right, let's stop right here. So they didn't give us the exact address. They just said 5500 block of Belmont Terrace. That's all they pretty much said. So I went here and looked to see what this actual address is, because if you go back and look at this, looks like they say 5508, right? So I went and looked, and I believe this is going to be 5508 right here. It looks like that's it. I'm pretty sure, right? Because there's that. So it looks like the address was 5508 Belmont Terrace. I was trying to figure out who lived there. I could not find exactly who lived there. I went on Zillow and everything. Maybe you guys can help out with that. If anybody's in Philly and knows who lives on this block, who you think lives in this house that they went to? Now, this is also, I believe, the house. Is this Gabby's house? Is this the house where Kada's phone did ping, they said, to another house? So is this Gabby's house? Is this where Gabby live at? 2 women were arrested, brought in for questioning, but then they released them. Obviously, probably didn't have no evidence on them at the time, so they released them. Or they released them back out to try and get these women to lead them to everything else that's going on. That could be a possibility, hopefully. Now, I'm wondering if one of these girls was Gabby. Gabby, remember the girl Gabby, the one who lived behind Kada? As friends.
So people are saying that I felt as though I couldn't go to the authorities about the situation because they had already locked him up. Now, I did eventually go to the authorities about the information, and they told me that the information that I bought them was useless, that they couldn't use the information because it wouldn't help to lead finding Kada. And also because he was already in police custody, so there was nothing that they could do with my information. They also told me that days before, my friend did come in with the information and they told her the exact same thing.
Gabby lived behind Kada, and remember she put out that video saying that, oh, she wasn't the one who, she accidentally gave out Kada's information, and she's not the cop. She's not a cop caller, even though when Keon was, supposed to be called her. But in my last video, I showed no, Keon didn't call her. She called Keon for 29 seconds, pretty much telling him where Kada's at. Made no sense. But come to find out, this woman has charges. She's out on bail herself. She got charges, almost the same type of charges that Keon has for terrorizing, conspiracy. Why didn't she talk about that in her TikToks? Now, like I told you in the beginning, Gabby's not innocent, you guys. She's definitely not innocent. I already had my doubts about her, and a lot of you guys did too. Now, check this out. Gabby's, I believe, out on bond as we speak right now, okay? This right here, the initial date was back this last summer, July 30th, 2025. That's when it was filed, okay? It was filed July 30th, 2025. Now, let's look at this here. Her co-defendant is Dante Murray. Do you guys know who Dante Murray is? That's from in that area. That's her co-defendant. Now, let's get down to the charges. Now, check these charges out. She has possession of instrument of crime with intent. Possession instrument of crime with intent. Then she has terroristic threats with intent to terrorize another. That's pretty similar to what Keon had, okay, or even has. Now she's got another charge on here, conspiracy. Now, the dates of all these are before she got arrested. This is March 22nd, 2025 is when this happened. Then she's got a simple assault. After that, she's got recklessly endangering another person. This is the same exact charge Keon has. Keon has this charge too. Recklessly endangering another person. Then she's got aggravated assault, attempt to cause SBI or cause injury with extreme interference. This woman earlier this year pretty much has the same charges as Keon almost. That is very interesting. Very interesting. Now, let's go down to the document and let's see what it says. Oh, look who signed her document. Larry Krasner. That's the guy who let Keon out in the first place, okay? Larry Krasner let Keon out in the first place. Interesting. Looks like he let this woman out too. But anyways, let's get back to what we're talking about here. All right, so here we go. Calendar events. So it looks like she's supposed to go back to court for a pre-trial. November 5th, 2025 is when she goes back. And this is her, Gabrielle Gillette. Date of birth, February 15th, 2007. I wish it gave her full address so I could see if her address is associated with that house. But obviously it doesn't. But I found this interesting. Why does she have some of the same charges that Keon has? Now, I really don't trust her. She's got threat charges to terrorize another, conspiracy. This woman lying. She lying. Oh, she didn't think we was going to find out. Yeah, we found out. We found out.
At 11:39 p.m. on October 5th, court records say King's registered Toyota Camry was caught on surveillance returning and parking at the recreation center next door to where Scott's body was found. It says 2 people exited the vehicle, and 4 hours later, 2 individuals appeared to take a large object consistent with the body out of the Hyundai Accent.
Yeah, so supposedly she was in Maryland. I don't know. Like I said, I don't trust her at all. At all. Now, the one thing they're saying is that, which we all know, Kada and Keon knew each other before Keon picked her up. So we pretty much knew that, right? Because everybody knew who Keon was. Keon was the neighborhood pharmaceutical person who supplied people, which I find really dumb because come to find out, Keon came from money. One of my YouTubers left me a comment on my last video saying the school that Keon went to, it was a Catholic school and their tuition is about $10,000 a year. Keon got kicked out of that school for threatening his teacher with a knife. His parents put him in a private Catholic school for about $10,000 a year, and he messed it up by getting kicked out with a knife, for actually threatening the teacher with the knife. So Keon already had problems. He already had issues. I don't know what's going on in his head, but the man seems like he came from a decent family. The dad supposedly does some sort of detective work. I'm still trying to figure this out if it's true or not. I cannot. But supposedly he did some detective work. The mom works for a nonprofit organization. And I heard he has a lot of brothers and siblings. One of the brothers actually is locked up right now for unaliving somebody. I'm trying to figure out who the brother is too. So I can give you guys that. I don't want to spit out a name and it won't be correct. But the guy came from money. So if he's coming from money, why is he out here selling and being a neighborhood pharmaceutical person? He could have had life set if he just finished school and then went off to college somewhere. We wouldn't be talking about him right now and Kada be still alive. He's an idiot. So yeah, he needed to be locked up. He should have never been out in the first place from that first charge. And the charge before that, when he forced himself on a woman on her bed, and they let him out for that one too. So they let this man out knowing he was a threat to society, knowing he was a dangerous to females, and just let him out. But hey, I guess I'm not in charge of this. The so-called smart people are in charge of this. The court system is stupid, if you ask me. But Gabby, like I said, she has these charges. Okay. They raided this house. They got two women and questioned them and then let them back. Who are the two women? Now we're wondering it's a big mystery going on. Who are the two women? But Kada and Keon knew each other. And they were talking, they said, for about 12 hours before he even picked her up, okay? He stole the car the day before, arrived in a stolen car, and picked her up. She knew he was coming because she texted him, CM when you get here, which means call me when you get here. Now, one of the co-workers that Kada was working with said that Kada was arguing on the phone with somebody else. And Kada was saying, I can't believe you're getting mad over this. What is she arguing about? Now, the only thing I could think about is before Kada, before Kada went to work, she went out on a date at Top Golf. Okay. Unless Keon found out think about this real quick. Did Keon find out about that date? Keon supposedly had an obsession with her. He told Gabby about it. Gabby and Keon were supposed to be more than just friends. I got an email saying they were messing around too. So that Gabby really liked Keon, but Keon's over here bragging about Kada, and Kada is not giving Keon maybe the time of day, maybe. In that sense, but going out on a date with this other man at Top Golf, Keon finds out. And it's like, oh, you want to do this? If I can't have you, nobody can. And maybe while they're on the phone talking, he found out and was getting mad. And that's why she said, hey, I can't believe you're getting mad about this. As in, like, why are you getting mad? You ain't my man. I can do what I want. Because why else would she say that? You're getting mad about this? That's the only thing I could think about. Now, I told you he was a neighborhood pharmaceutical. So was he dropping her off something? Because like everybody's, I got an email saying that she smoked. Ain't nothing wrong with that. People smoke. They legalized in a lot of states. I think it should be legalized everywhere. They got tobacco legalized. Why not that? So if she smokes, she smokes. And she's got to get it from somewhere, right? So if he was, let's say, coming up to go give her some or make that transaction, it would make sense for her to walk outside and get in the car. But they said that she left unwillingly. So meaning she probably sat in the car but didn't want him to drive off with her. She's still at work. She only came out for a few minutes to meet him. How long did it take for him to pull the weapon out and do that to her? Or was somebody else in the car with him? And another question I have is, this other person they said on the video, were they there the whole time? Or did he happen to just be like, hey? Because the house that got searched, they said he went back and forth several times, not just once, several. And these two girls there at the house supposedly don't know nothing. It makes me go back to the auntie. Remember the psychic aunt? What did she say? She said it was a man with dreads and two women. Do you remember that? One was wearing a blue shirt.
Everybody, I appreciate y'all. I love y'all so much. Yes, and me speaking on the live, seeing the guy with the dreadlocks in my vision. There you go. Two other people involved. It's a female. I know one female personally, but there's some jealousy things going on. White truck. Near trains. Bandit building for sure. For sure. And she's near the trains. Yeah, that's where we at with it. For me, I understand more better because of who I am and how I carry in the spirit world, things of that sort. I will tell you this, my niece is still in the area of between the job and the park. I said I will tell you that there's 3 people involved. I will tell you that one person has dreadlocks. I will tell you that the job does know what something that's going on with it. I will tell you that my niece got in a car to sit with the parties, and it wound up being a drive-off situation into an argument. It is not sexually that's involved. It is a lot of, assault and things of that sort, and, that led to, it's a transition situation.
I always had questions about, let's say, psychics who would try and solve crimes. I always had questions. I think we all do, right? But her, she make me a believer. She makes me a believer. I'm not saying they all can do it correctly, but she makes me a believer because I've sat here in real time, watched her tell these things, and they all come to truth. They all come to light. All of them. But they are hitting Keon with the M charge. They are hitting him with that. We're just waiting to find out to see who the second and third person is. We're just waiting to find out. Do you guys know? Do you guys know who lived at that address? And another thing is, they were talking back and forth. Supposedly, Keon always had different numbers. He was going by different names. Elliot was one. There was another name he was going by. The guy was a creep. Total creep. Still is. I mean, he's alive, so he's got to still be one. He's got a top-notch attorney now. So which means mommy and daddy's money is playing into his pockets again to try and get him free and out. Do you think he's going to beat these charges? Or do you think the second person is going to end up snitching on him if they haven't got the second person already? What if they got the second person now and the second person is the one giving them all this information and the media is just telling us a tipster said it all, but they already got the second person. And the second person is just cooperating. Ever thought about that? It happens.
Detectives don't know yet what Kada possibly meant with that kidnap me again text, whether she had been taken before by him or if her text was her just joking around to help her skip work that turned into awful deadly irony. Also in the court filing, video evidence King had help taking Kada Scott's body from a stolen car and burying her in the shallow grave behind the long-vacated Philadelphia public school, supporting the conspiracy charges. Detectives believe King Kada Scott within the hour she got into his car where she worked, and her body was left in that car for a full day after. The next night, Sunday, October 5th, the affidavit states, video shows King returned to the lot he parked that car in with Kada's body, but wasn't alone. Arriving in the gold Toyota Camry police recovered last week, video from the nearby Philadelphia Rec Center surveillance camera shows 2 individuals on foot approached the suspect vehicle after waiting 4.5 hours until 3:56 a.m. One motions toward the gold Camry they came in, and it drives out of the parking lot, indicating a third person involved. King and the other person with him then go back to the Hyundai Accent, remove a heavy object consistent with a human body, and carry that object to the playground in the direction of where the human remains were recovered. The Hyundai is later seen driving out of the parking lot, and it was later found set on fire and completely burned. The affidavit states the sequence of King's phone radio tower transmission measurements, coupled with video evidence from the Albury Rec Center, supports that King is present for and participates in all the crimes outlined in this affidavit.
It happens all the time. They also could be using an informant inside the jail. Informant inside the jail could be getting information from him too. That happens sometimes as well. Now, he wouldn't be calling anonymous tips from the jail. It don't work that way. You can't call. I said this in my last video. You can't call no anonymous tips while you inside the jail. They got video footage of you on that phone, so it's all timestamped, and they record it. But if they have an informant on the inside, cops could be coming in the cell talking about, hey, and calling that guy's name. Hey, nurse wants to see you in nurse's office. Guy leaves, and he's really going to talk to investigators. For all you people that's been in jail, it's going to make you think about every time somebody gets called to nurse's office. It'll make you think about that. It happens. Trust me. I know. I've seen it. But let me know what you guys think. If you guys have anything else, okay? Anything else, let me know. Hit me up on my email. I'm going to put the email below. It's marcel@raymarcel.com. marcel@raymarcel.com. This is Fugitive TV. Please like, subscribe, and let me know where you're watching from, okay? Like and subscribe. Rest in peace to Kada Scott. And not only that, there is a lot of other people out of Philadelphia who was missing. She was not the only one. I looked. There is tons of women out of Philadelphia missing. Kada's name just got the spotlight, but there's a lot of them out there missing. And I looked at this, and it's sad. So please be careful. If you're outside, please do not walk and be on your phone at the same time, all right? Especially if it's nighttime. Put your phone, actually, if you have your phone, keep in your hand and have an emergency dial or something, but don't be on your phone looking and walking, okay? And if it's nighttime, try not to be outside by yourself, okay? There's a lot of things that people can try and prevent, from them being kidnapped or whatever you want to call it, all right? So please be aware of your surroundings and look out. Be safe. Take care of one another. This is Fugitive TV. Until next time, I'm out.